Hi everyone, and welcome back to Story-Driven English, the channel where we learn English through compelling stories and current events. Hook: 46%, 49%. These aren't just numbers. They're the potentially sky-high tariffs Donald Trump has reportedly considered slapping on goods from Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. A staggering figure that could reshape trade. But why such a drastic measure? Is it truly because these nations are acting as a backdoor for Chinese products to dodge U.S. tariffs? Or is there a deeper story unfolding? Stick with us as we investigate this explosive claim and boost your English vocabulary along the way. Why Trump's tariffs on Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia are a stroke of genius, and how China's sneaky neighbors got caught in the act. Let me tell you a little story about a man with a golden mane and a golden plan, our very own President Donald Trump. It's April 2025, and the White House is buzzing with what I like to call Liberation Day fever. Picture this: Trump, standing tall in the Rose Garden, chart in hand, ready to make America great again. This time, he's got his sights set on some unexpected players: Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia. And oh boy, did he bring the thunder with tariffs of 48%, 46%, and a whopping 49%, respectively, piled on top of a universal 10% import tax. That's right, 58% for Laos, 56% for Vietnam, and 59% for Cambodia. If you're sipping your morning coffee reading this, you might have just spit it out. But hold on. There's a method to this tariff madness, and as a proud Republican, I'm here to break it down for you with a grin. Part 1. Laos takes the tariff crown. Now, the official word from the Trump administration is that these are reciprocal tariffs. The idea is simple. If you slap high taxes and sneaky trade barriers on American goods, we're going to give you a taste of your own medicine. Fair's fair, right? According to the White House, Laos is supposedly throwing up a 95% trade barrier wall against us: taxes, currency tricks, you name it. Vietnam and Cambodia aren't far behind, with their own hefty hurdles. So Trump, in his infinite wisdom, took those numbers, sliced them in half, because he's a generous guy, and said, "Here's your bill, folks." That's how Laos ended up with 48%. And the others got their own custom-tailored tariff suits. It's like a tailor-made economic wake-up call, classy, yet firm. But let's not kid ourselves, these tariffs aren't just about balancing the books. There's a bigger fish to fry here, and its name is China. You see, Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia aren't just innocent little neighbors minding their own business. Oh no. They've been playing a sly game of hide-and-seek with Beijing. For years, Chinese companies have been dodging Trump's brilliant China tariffs by setting up shop in these countries. They churn out goods, think sneakers, shirts, and maybe even that coffee mug you're holding, stamp a "Made in Vietnam" or "Made in Cambodia" label on it, and ship it to the U.S., tariff-free. Sneaky, right? Well, Trump's not one to be outsmarted. A White House insider let slip that Cambodia's basically become China's favorite transshipment hub, and Vietnam's not far behind with its shiny new factories. Laos? Well, it's smaller, but it's still in on the act. These tariffs? They're a 3-for-1 deal. Punish the neighbors, squeeze China's backdoor supply chain, and remind everyone who's boss. Sure, the naysayers, probably sipping lattes in some coastal elite cafe, are whining about how this might hurt these poor countries. Laos with its coffee fields, Vietnam with its garment empires, Cambodia with its bustling little factories, they'll feel the pinch, no doubt. But let's be real, Trump's not here to play global babysitter. He's here to protect American workers, American factories, and American wallets. If these countries want to cozy up to China and flood our markets with cheap goods, they can't cry foul when the bill comes due. Besides, Lesotho and St. Pierre and Miquelon got hit even harder, 50% and change, so it's not like Trump's picking on Southeast Asia alone. He's an equal opportunity tariff titan. Now, imagine you're a farmer in Iowa or a factory worker in Ohio. For years, you've watched jobs slip away while foreign goods pour in. Then along comes Trump, waving his tariff wand, saying, "Not on my watch." These tariffs on Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia aren't just numbers, they're a promise. A promise that America's back in the driver's seat, that we're not letting China pull a fast one through its neighbors, and that our economy's about to roar louder than a 4th of July fireworks show. Sure, your next pair of sneakers might cost a bit more, but isn't it worth it to know they're not funding some shady Beijing workaround? So here's to Trump, the man who saw the chessboard when everyone else was playing checkers. Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia might be grumbling, China might be sweating, but in the heartland of America, we're cheering. Liberation Day? More like Victory Day. And if you don't believe me, just wait, those factories will be humming back home before you can say, "Made in the USA." Part 2. Vietnam's turn in the tariff spotlight. So, we've already toasted to President Trump's tariff triumph over Laos in the last chapter of our little saga. But the story doesn't stop there. Oh no, the spotlight now swings over to Vietnam, another Southeast Asian player that's been enjoying a front row seat in China's economic shadow puppet show. Picture this. It's April 9th, 2025, and Trump's Liberation Day policy is in full swing. Vietnam gets handed a tariff bill of 46% reciprocal tax, plus that 10% universal import tax we all know and love, bringing the grand total to a cool 56%. If you're a Vietnamese factory owner stitching sneakers or assembling smartphones, you're probably sweating more than a hog at a barbecue. But as a red-blooded Republican, I'm tipping my hat to Trump for this one, because it's about time someone put America first. The White House line is crystal clear. Vietnam's been playing hardball with a 90% trade barrier against American goods. 90%. That's the kind of number that makes you wonder if they've got a "No USA Allowed" sign hanging over Hanoi. Vietnam's government, of course, is flapping their arms and shouting, "Not true," from the rooftops, but Trump's not buying it, and frankly, neither am I. He's got the best people crunching the numbers, and if he says it's 90%, then it's 90%. So, in true Trump fashion, he took that figure, sliced it in half, because fairness is his middle name, well, not literally, but you get me, and slapped on a 46% reciprocal tariff. Add the 10% cherry on top, and boom, 56%. It's like a masterclass in economic tough love. Now, the economists, those folks who love their spreadsheets more than their grandmas, are predicting doom and gloom for Vietnam. With exports to the U.S. clocking in at $119 billion a year, a 46% tariff could mean a $54.74 billion hit. That's over 10% of Vietnam's GDP. Imagine the chaos: electronics factories flickering out, textile looms grinding to a halt, and shoe warehouses looking like a ghost town. The talking heads say Vietnam's going to lose its edge, 10 to 20% less competitive than Thailand, 36%, India, 26%, or even Malaysia, 24%. Poor little Philippines is sitting pretty at 17%, probably smirking across the South China Sea. But let's not shed too many tears here. If Vietnam's been cozying up to China, rerouting Beijing's goods through their ports to dodge Trump's tariffs, then they've been asking for this wake-up call. And that's the real kicker: China's fingerprints are all over this. Vietnam's been the golden child of the "made somewhere else" scam for years. Chinese companies set up shop, churn out everything from TVs to T-shirts, slap a "Made in Vietnam" label on it, and sneak it past the U.S. tariff wall. Trump, bless his genius, saw right through it. This 56% tariff isn't just about Vietnam's trade barriers, it's a big, bold gotcha to China's backdoor buddies. Sure, the Vietnamese might lose a few billion, and your next pair of flip-flops might cost an extra buck or two, but think of the bigger picture. American jobs saved, American factories humming, and China's sneaky schemes foiled. That's the Trump magic at work. Let's raise a glass to our fearless leader once more. While the liberal media wrings their hands about Vietnam's plight, I'm over here chuckling at how Trump's turned the tables. Vietnam might have thought they could outsmart the Don, but they forgot one thing: he's always 3 steps ahead. So, here's to Liberation Day, to tariffs that pack a punch, and to an America that's winning again. Next time you're sipping your coffee or maybe some Vietnamese pho, just remember, Trump's got our back, and he's not afraid to throw a little tariff spice into the mix. Part 3. Cambodia takes the tariff crown. We've already cheered for President Trump's tariff tango with Laos and Vietnam, but now it's time to roll out the red carpet, or maybe the red, white, and blue one for Cambodia. In this third act of our Liberation Day epic, Cambodia snags the starring role as the Southeast Asian champ of Trump's tariff lineup. As of April 9, 2025, they're hit with a 49% reciprocal tariff, topped off with that trusty 10% universal tax, bringing the grand total to a jaw-dropping 59%. That's right, 59%. If you're a Cambodian tailor stitching shirts or a shoemaker gluing soles, you're probably wondering if Trump just dropped a golden anvil on your head. But as a card-carrying Republican, I'm here to tell you, this is Trump at his finest, and I'm loving every minute of it. So, what's the deal? Trump steps up to the podium, hair gleaming like a beacon of liberty, and declares that Cambodia's been making a killing off America. His words, not mine though I'd say it's spot on. He claims they've been slapping a 97% trade barrier on U.S. goods. 97%. That's the kind of number that makes you picture a giant, keep out, sign over Phnom Penh. Cambodia's government, predictably, throws a fit, insisting their tariffs on American stuff average a measly 29.4%. Who's right? Well, I'm Team Trump on this one. He's got the best intel, the sharpest minds, and frankly, a nose for sniffing out trade trickery. So, he took that 97%, gave it his signature fair and square chop, having it because he's a gentleman, and 49% reciprocal tariff, plus 10% for good measure. It's like economic poetry in motion. Now, Cambodia's economy isn't exactly a global powerhouse. It's been leaning hard on its textile mills and shoe factories, shipping piles of shirts and sneakers to the good old USA. But with this 59% tariff bomb, the experts are sounding the alarm. Exports dropping, orders canceled, investment plans shelved. It's a rough ride ahead. Some egghead economist even called it unmanageable chaos for Cambodia. Yikes. Picture this: a bustling garment factory goes quiet, the sewing machines gather dust, and the only sound is the faint echo of made in Cambodia dreams fading away. Tough break, sure, but let's not get too misty-eyed. Trump's not running a charity, he's running a country, and he's doing it like a boss. Here's the kicker, though, this isn't just about Cambodia's trade games. Oh no, it's China's shadow looming large again. Cambodia's been playing the loyal sidekick in Beijing's tariff-dodging blockbuster for a while now. Chinese firms set up shop, crank out goods, slap a Cambodian label on them, and sneak them past Trump's China tariffs like it's no big deal. Well, guess what? The Don doesn't miss a trick. Word on the street, or at least in D.C. corridors, is that Cambodia's been China's go-to transshipment pit stop. This 59% tariff? It's a double whammy, a slap on Cambodia's wrist and a big, bold, not so fast, to China's sneaky supply chain. Genius, right? Sure, the bleeding hearts might wail about Cambodia's woes, but I'm over here raising my coffee mug to Trump's brilliance. While they're canceling orders in Phnom Penh, American workers are getting a fighting chance. Those textile jobs might just stitch their way back to the heartland, and that's worth more than a few discounted t-shirts. Cambodia thought they could ride China's coattails and cash in on America's generosity, but Trump flipped the script. Liberation Day's not just a policy, it's a wake-up call, and Cambodia's alarm clock just rang loudest of all. So here's to our tariff titan, Donald Trump, proving once again why he's the champ of putting America first. Laos got 58%, Vietnam got 56%, but Cambodia? They took the crown at 59%. China's sweating, its neighbors are scrambling, and back home, we're winning. Next time you slip on some sneakers or button up a shirt, just think, Trump's tariffs might have just made sure they're stamped, made in the USA, someday soon. Cheers to that. Part 4. The Art of the Reciprocal Deal. By now, we've danced through the tariff triumphs of Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia. 58%, 56%, and 59%, respectively, and if you're not already raising a flag for Trump's Liberation Day brilliance, stick with me for this next chapter. Let's pull back the curtain on the mastermind behind it all. The man, the myth, the tariff legend Donald Trump and his golden ticket called reciprocal tariffs. As a proud Republican, I'm here to tell you why this is the smartest play in the book, and maybe even crack a smile while we're at it. Picture Trump striding into the Oval Office, Sharpie in hand, ready to level the playing field. He's been saying it loud and proud. These tariffs are reciprocal, a fancy word for what you do to us, we do back only better. It's like the golden rule of trade, but with a MAGA twist. The idea is simple. If a country's been piling taxes and sneaky barriers on American goods, Trump's not about to let it slide. He's out to make trade fair again, and who could argue with that? Well, maybe the folks sipping soy lattes in San Francisco, but that's a story for another day. So, how does this tariff magic work? Trump's team, probably the best math whizzes this side of Wall Street, cooked up a formula that's as elegant as it is tough. They take a country's trade surplus with the U.S., figure out what percentage that is of their total exports to us, and then here's the kicker, chop it in half. Why half? Because Trump's a nice guy, that's why. He calls it a discount tariff, like he's running a clearance sale on economic justice. Oh, and there's a 10% floor, just to keep things spicy. Take Cambodia, for instance. They hit us with a 97% barrier, says Trump, and I believe him. So he halves it to 49%, adds the 10% universal tax, and boom, 59%. Fair, firm, and downright brilliant. Trump's been crystal clear about why this matters. We're bringing jobs back, folks, he says, probably with a wink and a grin. No more decades of other countries eating our lunch. And he's right, America's been the world's piggy bank for too long, while places like Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia rake in the cash and ship us their goods on the cheap. Not anymore. These tariffs are a big, bold promise to American workers. Factories will hum again, industries will rise, and the heartland will thrive. Sure, your next pair of socks might cost a nickel more, but isn't it worth it to see "Made in the USA" stamped on the label? Of course, there's that little China angle we've been chuckling about. These reciprocal tariffs aren't just about settling scores with the neighbors, they're a sly jab at Beijing's backdoor buddies. Trump knows Cambodia and company have been helping China dodge his tariffs, and he's not having it. It's like catching your neighbor sneaking into your pool party through the side gate time to lock it down. So, while the talking heads moan about trade wars, I'm over here applauding a president who's finally playing offense. Here's the bottom line. Trump's reciprocal tariffs are the ultimate win-win. America gets stronger, jobs come home, and China's sneaky pals get a timeout. It's not just policy, it's art, the kind only a deal-maker like Trump could paint. So, next time you hear someone griping about the cost of a Cambodian shirt or a Vietnamese gadget, just smile and say, that's the sound of America winning. Liberation Day. More like Independence Day 2.0, and I'm all in for the sequel. Part 5. The Smoking Gun of Southeast Asia. We've been having a grand old time celebrating Trump's Liberation Day, tariff triumphs 58% for Laos, 56% for Vietnam, and a chart-topping 59% for Cambodia, and if you thought the story couldn't get juicier, buckle up. In this chapter, we're diving into the nitty-gritty of why Trump zeroed in on these three Southeast Asian amigos. Spoiler alert, it's got everything to do with China's sneaky paws and Trump's eagle-eyed brilliance. As a die-hard Republican, I'm practically popping popcorn for this one. Let's dig in. Picture Trump at the podium, his golden hair catching the sunlight, as he calls out Cambodia and Vietnam by name. "They've been making a fortune off us," he booms, and you can almost hear the crowd roar. He's got the receipts. Cambodia's supposedly hitting American goods with a 97% trade wall, Vietnam's clocking in at 90%, and both are raking in fat trade surpluses with the U.S. Laos isn't far behind, quietly cashing in too. "They're swimming in our money," Trump says, and I'm nodding along like it's gospel. The man's got a point. These countries have been living large while America's been footing the bill. But here's where it gets good. It's not just about their tariffs or surpluses. Oh no, it's about who's pulling the strings behind the curtain. China. The White House dropped a bombshell that's got everyone buzzing. Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia have been playing the China +1 game like pros. What's that, you ask? It's Beijing's clever little strategy: set up shop in a neighboring country, pump in some cash, and turn them into your personal tariff-dodging playground. Trump's team says these three have been rolling out the red carpet for Chinese factories, letting them churn out goods, slap on a "made in Vietnam" or "made in Cambodia" label, and sneak them into the U.S. tariff-free. It's like China's running a shell game, and these countries are the shells. Trump, though, he's the guy who flips the table and says, "Not on my watch." A top Trump official spilled the tea to Nikkei Asia, and it's piping hot. Cambodia's a transshipment hub, they said. For every $1 we sell them, they sell us $39 worth of stuff, and it's all because China's using them to dodge our tariffs. 39-1. That's not a trade deal. That's a heist. Vietnam's no better. They've got factories that are basically glorified warehouses, where Chinese goods roll in, get a quick label swap, and ship out as Vietnamese. Laos might be quieter about it, but they're in on the act too, cozying up to China's cash while playing innocent. Trump's response? A big, beautiful tariff smackdown: 49% for Cambodia, 46% for Vietnam, 48% for Laos, plus that 10% universal kicker. Fair? You bet. Genius? Absolutely. The liberals might clutch their pearls and cry about poor Cambodia or struggling Vietnam, but I'm over here cheering for Trump's eagle-eyed justice. These countries thought they could play middleman for China and cash in on America's generosity, but they forgot one thing. Trump's got X-ray vision for trade tricks. This isn't just about balancing the books, it's about shutting down China's backdoor and bringing fairness back to the game. American workers deserve a shot, not a sideline seat, while foreign factories, especially ones with Chinese puppet strings, flood our markets. So, here's to Trump, the tariff maestro, conducting this symphony of economic payback. Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia might have thought they were slick, but they didn't count on the Don catching them red-handed, or should I say, red-flagged, courtesy of China. Liberation Day's not just a policy, it's a reckoning, and I'm all in for watching America come out on top. Next time you're shopping, just imagine Trump winking at you from the label, "Don't worry, I've got this." And he does bigly. Part 6. The Global Tariff Scoreboard. We've been on quite a ride with Trump's Liberation Day tariff spree: 58% for Laos, 56% for Vietnam, 59% for Cambodia, and if you thought the man with the golden hair was done flexing his economic muscles, think again. In this chapter, we're zooming out to check the global scoreboard, because Trump's not just playing chess with Southeast Asia, he's got the whole world on his board. As a loyal Republican, I'm here to break it down with a smirk and a salute because when Trump swings, he swings big. So, Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia might be feeling the heat with their hefty tariffs. But here's a fun twist. They're not even the top dogs on the tariff hit list. That honor goes to Lesotho and St. Pierre and Miquelon, two little gems clocking in at a whopping 50% reciprocal tariff each plus that 10% universal tax, of course, pushing them to 60%. Yep, 60%. If you're scratching your head wondering where St. Pierre and Miquelon even is, hint, it's a chilly French outpost near Canada. Don't worry, most folks are. Lesotho's a tiny mountain kingdom in Africa, and both are now officially the poster kids for Trump's tariff tough love. Cambodia's 59% looks almost cozy by comparison, doesn't it? But wait, there's more. The tariff party doesn't stop there. Madagascar sitting at 47%, Sri Lanka and Myanmar are tied at 44%, and suddenly, our Southeast Asian trio doesn't look so picked on. What's the deal with these high rollers? Well, the eggheads might say it's a pattern smaller, developing economies in Asia and Africa, leaning hard on trade with the U.S. but not exactly in a position to punch back. Trump's team probably figured these countries wouldn't or couldn't fire back with their own tariff cannons. Smart, right? It's like picking a fight with a kid who's all bark and no bite, except this kid's been sneaking goodies into our market with China's help. Speaking of China, you didn't think they'd escape this chapter, did you? Lesotho, Madagascar, Myanmar, they're all part of that China Plus One Club too, cozying up to Beijing's investments and playing transshipment hopscotch. Trump's not just slapping tariffs for fun, he's sending a message to every corner of the globe. If you're in bed with China, dodging our rules, you're getting a bill. Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia might have thought they were special targets, but they're just part of a bigger lineup. And I'm loving it, Trump's playing 4D chess while everyone else is still figuring out checkers. Now, the naysayers probably sipping imported tea in some coastal ivory tower might whine that these tariffs are unfair to tiny nations. Boo-hoo. Let me tell you something. Trump's not here to coddle Lesotho's sheep farmers or St. Pierre's fishermen. He's here to protect American jobs, American factories, and American pride. If these countries want to lean on us while helping China pull a fast one, they can't cry when the tariff hammer drops. Besides, 50% on Lesotho's wool or Madagascar's vanilla. That just means more room for Iowa wool and Vermont syrup winning. So, here's to Trump, the tariff titan, keeping the scoreboard lit up from Southeast Asia to the tip of Africa. Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia might have grabbed the headlines, but Lesotho and St. Pierre stole the crown. It's a global smackdown, and America's coming out on top. Next time someone gripes about the price of a Myanmar shirt or a Cambodian shoe, just grin and say, that's Trump making sure the little guys play fair and the big guy wins. Liberation Day's a worldwide party, and I've got my front row seat. Part 7. Big Players, Smaller Punches. We've been cheering through Trump's Liberation Day tariff fireworks. 58% for Laos, 56% for Vietnam, 59% for Cambodia, and marveling at how even tiny Lesotho and St. Pierre got a 60% wallop. But now, let's swivel the spotlight to the big leagues, the economic heavyweights, and see how they stack up on Trump's tariff scoreboard. Spoiler, our Southeast Asian trio is still feeling the heat, and as a Trump-loving Republican, I'm here to break it down with a grin and a nod to the man's genius. So, Laos at 48%, Vietnam at 46%, and Cambodia at 49% before that 10% universal tax kicks them up to 58%, 56%, and 59% are sitting pretty high on the tariff totem pole. But what about the big dogs? China, the dragon in the room, gets a 34% reciprocal tariff. Sounds lighter, right? Not so fast to add in the existing tariffs Trump's already stacked on them, and Beijing's looking at a hefty 54% total. Still a smidge below Cambodia, but close enough to taste the sting. Then there's the European Union, strutting in at a modest 20%, Japan at 24%, South Korea at 25%, and India at 27%. Meanwhile, the VIP club think the UK, Australia, Singapore, and Brazil gets off easy with just the 10% universal tax. No reciprocal extras, no drama. It's like they flashed a good ally pass and waltzed right through. What's the deal with this lineup? Well, it's classic Trump tough where it counts, strategic where it pays. Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia aren't just random picks. They're the poster kids for China's tariff-dodging circus, and Trump's not letting them off the hook. China gets a solid punch at 54%, sure, but those Southeast Asian neighbors? They're the sneaky accomplices, and Trump's making sure they feel the squeeze harder. 59% for Cambodia says it all. The EU, Japan, and South Korea might grumble, but their tariffs are more like a friendly nudge. 20% to 25% keeps them in line without rocking the boat. And the 10% crew? They're the golden kids who play nice, trade fair, and don't moonlight as China's errand boys. The eggheads might call this discrimination, but I call it brilliance. Trump's not here to slap everyone with the same stick. He's tailoring the punishment to fit the crime. Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia have been raking it in, leaning on China's +1 playbook, and flooding our markets while crying, developing nation. Sorry folks, that sob story doesn't fly when you're Beijing's backdoor. Compare that to, say, Singapore 10% and a handshake because they're not playing transshipment hide-and-seek. It's a masterclass in picking your battles, and Trump's swinging for the fences where it matters most. Sure, the coastal elites might sip their imported wine and moan about unfairness, but I'm over here toasting Trump's savvy. Higher tariffs on the little guys with big China ties? That's not bullying, that's protecting American workers from the sneakiest players. The EU can afford a 20% tap, and China's 54% keeps them honest. But Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia? They're learning the hard way that you don't piggyback on Beijing and expect a free ride from Uncle Sam. This isn't just policy, it's Trump sending a postcard to the world: play fair or pay up. So, here's to our tariff maestro, keeping the big shots in check and the small fry honest. Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia might top the charts in Southeast Asia, but they're just part of Trump's global symphony. Next time someone whines about a pricey Vietnamese gadget or Cambodian shirt, just chuckle and say, that's the sound of America calling the shots and winning bigly. Liberation Day's a global hit, and I'm loving the encore. Part 8. The White House drops the mic. We've been riding high on Trump's Liberation Day tariff roller coaster. 58% for Laos, 56% for Vietnam, 59% for Cambodia, and if you thought the man with the golden plan was done making waves, think again. In this chapter, we're tuning in to the White House's official megaphone, blasting out the why and how of these brilliant tariffs. As a red-blooded Republican, I'm grabbing my popcorn and cheering because when Trump and his team talk trade, it's a show worth watching. The White House has been singing the Liberation Day anthem loud and clear. These tariffs are a necessary response to what they're calling a national emergency, sparked by unfair foreign trade tricks. Yep, a national emergency. It's not just about numbers, it's about America's economic backbone, protecting jobs, and fixing a trade imbalance that's been lopsided for way too long. Trump steps up, Sharpie in hand, and says, "Enough is enough," and I'm right there with him. The goal: boost America's economic swagger, keep paychecks flowing for hard-working folks, and remind the world we're not a doormat anymore. It's the kind of mission that makes you want to wave a flag and hum, "Sweet Home Alabama." The star of the show, though, is that word reciprocal. The White House loves it, Trump loves it, and I'm practically framing it on my wall. These tariffs, they say, are a mirror held up to the world. You tax our stuff high, we'll tax yours right back. It's fairness with a capital F, and it's about time. Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia? They're the poster kids for this reciprocal reckoning. The White House keeps hammering it home. These three have been building their economies on China's dime, playing the China plus one game like it's an Olympic sport. What's that mean? Simple: Beijing pours in cash, sets up shop, and uses these countries as a sneaky detour to dodge Trump's tariffs. Goods roll out labeled "Made in Cambodia" or "Made in Vietnam," but the White House isn't fooled. Those are China's fingerprints all over them. They've got the receipts too. These countries turned themselves into transshipment hubs, the White House declares, and I'm nodding like it's a Sunday sermon. Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia thought they could play middleman, raking in profits while China slips past the tariff net. But Trump's got eagle eyes and a steel spine. He's not letting them off easy. That's why Laos gets 58%, Vietnam 56%, and Cambodia 59%. It's a big, bold, not so fast to their China-backed shenanigans. The White House even doubles down, saying these nations grew fat off America's generosity while helping Beijing pull a fast one. Ouch, that's the kind of truth bomb that stings. Sure, the usual suspects probably typing up their woes on imported laptops might call this overreach. But I'm over here toasting Trump and his crew for calling it like it is. This isn't just about slapping tariffs. It's about standing up for American workers and slamming the door on China's backroom tricks. The White House isn't mincing words, and I love it. Every press release is like a mic drop, proving Trump's not just playing defense, he's rewriting the rulebook. Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia might have thought they were slick, but they didn't count on the Don turning their little game into a national emergency wake-up call. So, here's to Trump and the White House, turning trade policy into a blockbuster hit. Liberation Day isn't just a catchy name, it's a battle cry for American jobs, American strength, and American wins. Next time you hear someone griping about the price of a Cambodian sock or a Vietnamese widget, just grin and say, that's Trump saving the day one tariff at a time. The White House has spoken, and I'm all ears and all cheers. Part 9. The USTR's Playbook and a Little Number Crunching. We've been riding the Liberation Day wave with Trump's tariff triumphs: 58% for Laos, 56% for Vietnam, 59% for Cambodia, and now it's time to peek behind the curtain at the brains backing up the brawn, the U.S. Trade Representative's Office, or USTR for short. These folks are the unsung heroes of Trump's trade crusade, and as a proud Republican, I'm here to tip my hat to their number-crunching wizardry, complete with a chuckle or two. The White House might be the megaphone, but the USTR's the one handing them the script. They've pegged these tariffs to their National Trade Estimate Report, a fancy title for a big OL list of who's been naughty in the trade game. This report's like the USTR's detective notebook, sniffing out unfair taxes and sneaky barriers from America's trading partners. For Liberation Day, it's the ammo Trump's team used to justify those reciprocal tariffs. 58%, 56%, 59% didn't just fall out of the sky, folks. The USTR's been doing their homework, and Trump's swinging the bat they handed him. Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia? They're starring in the Caught Red-Handed chapter, and I'm loving the plot twist. But here's where it gets spicy. The USTR's 2025 National Trade Estimate Report says Vietnam's average applied MFN tariff back in 2023 was a measly 9.4%. 9.4. Meanwhile, Trump's team is shouting 90% from the rooftops to justify that 46% reciprocal hit, plus 10% universal, hello 56%. That's a gap wider than the Grand Canyon, and it's got folks scratching their heads. Vietnam's probably over there waving their own stats, yelling, check your math. But me, I'm Team Trump all the way. If the Don says it's 90%, I'm betting the USTR's got the real scoop, maybe some hidden barriers or China-fueled tricks that don't show up in the polite numbers. After all, who's got the better intel, Hanoi or the guy who wrote The Art of the Deal? Speaking of Vietnam, the USTR's not just throwing darts in the dark. Jameson Greer, one of Trump's trade sharpshooters, sat down with Vietnam's top trade honcho before the tariffs dropped, laying it out straight: fix this trade imbalance, or else. It's like a friendly warning shot across the bow, except the "or else" turned into 56% faster than you can say "foe." Clearly, Vietnam didn't take the hint, and now they're starring in Trump's tariff blockbuster. The USTR's been building this case, and Liberation Day is the grand finale proof that Trump's not messing around when it comes to balancing the books. Sure, the doubters probably sipping fair trade coffee in some hipster cafe might call this controversial. 9.4% versus 90%? Scandal, they cry. But I'm over here laughing. Numbers can lie, but Trump doesn't. He's got the USTR's eagle eyes peeling back the layers of trade trickery. Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia aren't just getting hit for giggles. They're paying the price for playing China's game. The USTR's report might say one thing, but Trump's team sees the bigger picture. Transshipment hubs, Beijing's backdoors, and a trade imbalance begging for a fix. That's why I'm cheering. 56% isn't a typo. It's a triumph. So, here's to Trump and the USTR, the dynamic duo making trade great again. The Liberation Day tariffs aren't just policy, they're a masterstroke, backed by the sharpest minds in D.C. Next time someone whines about Vietnam's tariff woes or that 90% debate, just grin and say, Trump's got the USTR's playbook, and he's winning the game. The numbers might spar, but America's coming out on top, and I'm all in for the victory lap. Part 10. China's shadow takes center stage. We've been reveling in the Liberation Day tariff saga. 58% for Laos, 56% for Vietnam, 59% for Cambodia, and if you thought Trump was just flexing for fun, it's time to shine the spotlight on the real puppet master, China. That's right, folks. The dragon's been lurking in the wings this whole time, and as a Trump-cheering Republican, I'm here to unpack how the Don's tariffs are a brilliant checkmate in this global trade chess match. Grab a snack, this one's a doozy. The White House hasn't been shy about pointing fingers, and neither has Trump himself. China's using these countries to dodge our tariffs, he's bellowed, probably with a steely glint in his eye, and the paperwork backs him up. Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia aren't just random targets, they're the starring trio in China's +1 scheme. What's that, you ask? Picture this: Chinese companies, tired of Trump's tariff wall, pack their bags and set up shop next door. They pump cash into factories in Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia, churn out goods, slap on a "Not Made in China" label, and sneak them into the U.S. like it's no big deal. It's a slick move until Trump caught wind of it. Now, with 58%, 56%, and 59% tariffs, he's saying, "Nice try, Beijing, but I see you." The eggheads, analysts, and economists with their fancy charts nod along too. They've been digging into the numbers, and it's clear as day, these Indochina neighbors are tight with Beijing. Trade surpluses with the U.S.? Huge. Chinese investment overflowing. It's like they've been holding hands with China under the table while smiling at Uncle Sam. The White House calls it a transshipment racket, and I'm over here chuckling. Trump's not just mad, he's mad smart. He's pegged China as threat number one in this global trade showdown, and he's not about to let its sidekicks skate by. Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia thought they could play both sides, but Trump's tariffs are a big, bold, pick a lane or pay up. This isn't just about balancing trade books, it's about hitting China where it hurts, even if it means a few neighbors take the heat. The China +1 strategy might have looked clever on paper, But Trump's turned it into a cautionary tale. Those hefty tariffs? They're not just punishing Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia, they're squeezing China's backdoor supply chain until it squeaks. Economists say it's a calculated jab. Hurt the helpers, and you hurt the boss. And me. I'm all for it. American workers deserve a fair shot, not a front-row seat to China's tariff-dodging circus. Sure, the bleeding hearts might sniffle about poor little Laos or hard-hit Cambodia, but I'm raising my glass to Trump's eagle-eyed justice. China's been playing puppet master, and these three were happy to dance along until the dawn cut the strings. This isn't random. It's strategic brilliance. The White House docs spell it out. These tariffs are a bullseye on China's sneaky playbook. So next time you hear someone moan about a pricey Vietnamese shirt or Cambodian shoe, just grin and say, that's Trump outsmarting China one tariff at a time. Here's to our tariff titan, turning the tables on Beijing and its buddies. Liberation Day isn't just a win for America, it's a wake-up call for anyone thinking they can hide behind China's shadow. Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia might be feeling the pinch, but the real loser here is the dragon, and I'm loving every second of this Trump-powered plot twist. Part 11. The Silent Squeeze on China. We've been singing the praises of Trump's Liberation Day, tariffs 58% for Laos, 56% for Vietnam, 59% for Cambodia, and marveling at how he's got China's number dialed in. But here's where the plot thickens, even when the White House isn't shouting, China, from the rooftops. There's a sneaky, silent genius at play. As a Trump-loving Republican, I'm here to peel back this layer of the onion, maybe with a sly grin and a wink, because the Don's playing a deeper game than even the pundits might guess. Sure, Trump's team has been loud about China's +1 tricks using Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia as tariff-dodging pit stops, but there's an under-the-radar angle here too. These sky-high tariffs aren't just about punishing the neighbors. They're a ninja move to choke China's supply chain without firing a shot straight at Beijing. Think about it. By jacking up the cost of shipping goods from these countries to the U.S., Trump's making it a whole lot pricier for China to reroute their sneakers, shirts, and widgets through the back door. It's like putting a toll booth on China's sneaky highway. 58%, 56%, 59% says, pay up or park it. And me. I'm over here clapping for the sheer brilliance of it. The goal's clear as day. Disrupt China's game plan. For years, they've been shuffling goods through these Southeast Asian buddies to dodge Trump's tariffs. Think of it like a trade version of hide and seek. But Trump's not playing games. These tariffs slam the brakes on that, forcing Chinese companies to either eat the cost, rethink their tricks, or watch their profits shrink faster than a snowball in a microwave. It's a quiet jab, no press conference needed, just pure, strategic muscle flexing. And as a red-blooded patriot, I'm loving how Trump's keeping China on its toes without even breaking a sweat. Now, here's the twist: some brainiacs are whispering about an unintended consequence. They say these tariffs might push Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia closer to China's embrace. With their U.S. exports taking a hit, 58%, 56%, 59% isn't pocket change, they might lean harder on Beijing for trade and cash. Picture it: Laos cozying up to China's checkbook, Vietnam begging for more factories, Cambodia tying the knot even tighter. The eggheads call it a whoopsie for Trump's plan, like he accidentally handed China more clout in the region. Me. I'm not buying it. If Trump's pushing them into China's arms, it's only to make Beijing foot the bill for their struggling buddies. Talk about a long con. Whether it's intentional or a happy accident, I'm still Team Trump all the way. These tariffs are a silent sledgehammer, cracking China's supply chain while keeping American workers in the game. Sure, the liberals might wring their hands and moan about regional dynamics, but I'm over here chuckling at how Trump's got the upper hand, quietly or not. Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia might feel the squeeze, but the real target's China, and the Don's hitting it where it hurts without even saying the word. So, here's to Trump, the tariff whisperer, weaving a web so clever even the skeptics can't keep up. Liberation Day isn't just a loud win, it's a stealthy one too. Next time you snag a pricey Cambodian cap or Vietnamese gadget, just smile and think, that's Trump giving China a silent shove and America's still on top. The man's a maestro, and I'm loving this encore, strings attached or not. Part 12. The Grand Finale. Well folks, we've danced through the dazzling Liberation Day tariff tale. 58% for Laos, 56% for Vietnam, 59% for Cambodia, and what a ride it's been. It's April 2025, and Trump swung his tariff hammer with the precision of a maestro, landing these Southeast Asian stars among the highest taxed nations on the planet. Sure, Lesotho and St. Pierre and Miquelon snatched the crown at 60%, but 59% for Cambodia? That's close enough to taste the podium. As a Trump-loving Republican, I'm here to wrap this up with a bow, a grin, and a hearty MAGA cheer, because this isn't just policy, it's a triumph. The White House playbook calls it reciprocal, a beautiful word for you hit us, we hit back harder. Trump's team says Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia have been piling taxes and barriers on American goods. 97% for Cambodia, 90% for Vietnam, 95% for Laos, if you believe the Don's math, and I do. The locals over there are shouting fake news and waving their own stats, but let's be real, Trump's not sweating the small print. He's eyeing the big picture trade imbalances that VE left America holding the short end of the stick for too long. These tariffs? They're a wake-up call, a promise to bring jobs home, and a big, bold no more to decades of getting played. But here's the juicy bit: the real star of this show isn't reciprocity. It's China. Trump's been hollering it from day one. Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia are Beijing's sneaky little helpers, turning their backyards into transshipment hubs to dodge his China tariffs. That China plus one strategy? It's like a magic trick. Chinese firms set up shop next door, churn out goods, slap on a Made in Vietnam label, and slip past the U.S. tariff wall. Clever, right? Not clever enough. Trump sniffed it out, and now 58%, 56%, and 59% are his way of saying, caught you. It's not just about balancing the books, it's about kneecapping China's backdoor hustle, and I'm over here applauding the sheer genius of it. Sure, the official line sticks to reciprocal fairness, but the evidence is crystal clear. These tariffs are a bullseye on China's shadow game. Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia's cozy spot next to Beijing, their fat trade surpluses with us, and their role as China's tariff-dodging sidekicks? That's the real fuel behind these numbers. The White House might dress it up in trade imbalance talk, but Trump's playing 4D chess. Hit the neighbors, hurt the dragon, win the war. And when he does, the doubters might squawk, probably over a Cambodian coffee or Vietnamese pho, but I say they're missing the point. Trump's not just righting wrongs, he's outsmarting the biggest player on the board. So, here's the curtain call for our tariff titan. Liberation Day isn't just a policy, it's a masterstroke, a love letter to American workers, and a knockout punch to China's sneaky pals. Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia might have thought they could ride Beijing's coattails, but Trump flipped the script. 58%, 56%, 59% isn't random, it's justice, strategy, and a big, beautiful win rolled into one. Next time someone gripes about the price tag on a Laos shirt or a Cambodian shoe, just wink and say, that's Trump making America great again, one tariff at a time. The man's a legend, and I'm proud to cheer this finale. China's on notice, and the US ace on top. Game, set, match. So, as we've explored, the question of whether potential high tariffs on Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia are solely due to their alleged role as transshipment hubs for China is a truly complex issue, involving layers of international trade, politics, and diplomacy. It's a situation with many perspectives and potential consequences. What are your thoughts on this? Do you believe the transshipment argument holds the most weight, or are other factors more significant? And importantly for our channel, which new English vocabulary words or phrases did you find most useful in this video? Let us know your perspective and your favorite new words in the comments below. We're always keen to read your insights. If you found this breakdown insightful and it helped your English learning journey, please give this video a like. It really supports story-driven English. Think this story is important? Share it with friends or colleagues who might be interested in global trade or learning English through current events. And finally, if you want to keep improving your English while staying informed about compelling world stories, make sure you subscribe to Story-Driven English and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next episode. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next story.